Here with Zoey Stark here on Post Wrestling. Zoey, it has been pretty much a whirlwind year for you, and I want to go back to the end of 2021. You suffered a devastating knee injury and came back in an incredible amount of time when you consider the injury.
Yeah.
Tell me kind of what was like, was that your lowest point with that injury? How did you like mentally approach how you were going to tackle this rehabilitation process and when things were really clicking for you at NXT?
Yeah, that was a really, really hard, difficult time for me. I broke down so many times I lost count. But when you're that low, there's nowhere to go but up. So I just told myself I'll beat the time frame that they're telling me, because at first it's supposed to be a good solid year of rehab. I destroyed my knee, and I just knew I couldn't let that happen. So I made it back within 8.5 months, and being gone for that long, you watch everything and you see what's going on, what people are doing, what they're not doing, and what I could personally fix. So I took all of that I learned from being out and putting it back in when I came back. And I think that was the big factor for me in being so successful now. It's because at that point, I'm not going to hold anything back. At first I was probably kind of tiptoeing. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever else. Now it's done. We can't play that game here.
Do you think as much of if it was a physical setback, mentally it was that many steps forward that I could kind of take a big picture look at where my career is, what I can get out of the performance center, different aspects of the industry, and sort of just how can I use this time to my best benefit?
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely more of a mental game. Physically, I knew I was going to be fine. I had a great physical therapist. She was helping me along the entire time. It was more of a mental game of like how you just... It's so hard to explain, because when you're an athlete and you're being out from the thing that you love, it hurts. It does physically and mentally hurt. So when it was time to come back, I had to go full throttle.
Were you still watching? Were you still...
All the time. I was there every single day, Monday through Friday. I would do my rehab, then I would go watch training. I would try and help teach, the newer people. I would go to promo class. I would do everything that I needed to do to make sure that when I came back, I was that much better. So, yeah, I was there every single day.
And conversely, on the other side of it, when you make that comeback, is there any trepidation on your part? And once you realize, man, the knee is in great standing, I mean, that had to have been, like, these 8 months were tough, but look where I am now.
Fresh breath, you know what I mean.
Breath tasty.
Yes. But it's a great feeling. You're down for 8.5 months, and when you finally go out there and you hear the crowd excited to actually see you, because I wasn't sure. In my head, I was like, maybe they just don't even remember me. I don't know. I haven't been on TV for a while. So when you hear that nice little pop, it makes you excited, and it makes that time well worth it.
Then everyone's got a really interesting story when they finally get the note that, hey, you're coming up to Raw. For you, what was that? And I imagine this whole story kind of compounded it, like, wow, what a validation that all of this was worth it.
It made me break down and cry, through all of that hardship and everything else, being a torn ACL, having to take so long to get signed with WWE, it made everything worth it. On the indies, I was maybe getting $10 a show, if that, So to finally get to Raw, my lifelong dream, it was the best feeling in the world.
Who delivered the message to you? Who got to tell you that this is the plan?
For Raw?
To go to Raw.
When they did the draft on TV.
That's how you're finding out?
That's how I found out. There's a video out there where we find out after Raw where they were doing a show, and my name popped up, and that's how I found out. I had a little inkling because the coach told me, like, hey, kid, I don't think you're going to be here much longer. So I had that feeling, but you never know. Yeah. Things change all the time.
And what's the environment like going from NXT, now you're on Raw? How does that dynamic switch?
It's two different games, NXT, you get to stay home, you get to train and stay in shape and do what you need to do. On Raw, you're traveling nonstop. So it's fun, but it's hard to figure out when to get your workouts in. It's hard to figure out your diet. So that's the two hardest things I've had so far. But it's still a great time.
You're also going into a locker room. It's new faces, and is there like that competitive nature as well? Like, here is somebody new that has this momentum behind them. What is it like going from one locker room to the other?
If there is that competitive factor, the girls, I think we're all very competitive, but they have been so welcoming and great to me. They've been helping me out along the way, telling me how to travel, giving me the little tips. They've been great. They've been very welcoming. So I can't say anything more than that.
sometimes we see when, it's a very big leap going from NXT to the main roster, and how it's going to, your movement up has been very well received, and getting to work alongside Trish Stratus, I mean, that has to just be tons of knowledge that you are benefiting from. And as much as this feud is Trish and Becky, you are right there in the midst of it. You're absolutely, this is a 3-person program, so this has to be kind of just best case scenario for you.
Oh, for sure. Never in my life did I think I would get to, one, work with Trish Stratus. Never thought that would ever happen. And then be in a storyline with Becky Lynch. With the two of them, I mean, it's great. Like, it's a whirlwind, It's amazing.
What are you kind of looking at now as sort of like, now that I have my spot here on Raw, where I want to be in 6 months, in 12 months? Do you think that far ahead, or is that sometimes too difficult in an industry like this to be making too bold a prediction of where you want to be in some finite time?
Yeah, that could be a very difficult question. I think all of us have that dream of main eventing WrestleMania at some point. We all have that dream of being a champion, but right now I'm really just focused on Trish and I, what we need to do, and I'm just following Trish's lead right now.
Well, congratulations on everything. It's been great to watch your movement up to Raw, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.